Just call IT. A little backstory. I had a friend who worked as a processor for a small mortgage company. Small in that they had around 15 offices scattered throughout NC. She found another job and put in her 2 weeks' notice. The person they hired to replace her quit 2 days before her 2 weeks were up. So her office was in a bind. In walks me. My friend told her boss she knew someone who could do the job. And that, since she was friends with this person, she would be willing to train her after hours and on weekends. Plus, if possible, take calls during the week. That take calls during the week is important. So I was hired. The manager wasn't too happy about it as I had no actual experience in an office setting. Just college knowledge. But as long as my friend would help me, she said okay. But because of this, whenever I would ask my boss a question, she would immediately get upset and tell me to call my friend. Even for simple things, like, where do we keep the stamps? Please keep in mind that this was the early 90s, and all our computer systems were DOS-based and quite difficult to master. The number one mortgage software, at that time, was a system called Contour, which was pretty non-user-friendly for such a costly program. I was trained that if an issue came up, I was to fix it myself and not to contact Contour. I was given a list of common errors and how to fix them. I'm on my 4th day, and an error pops up on the screen that I had never seen before and is not on my list. It states I am to call this 800 number and speak with a Contour technician to help clear it. I immediately call my friend, but she is not available right then as she is going through her own training. So I go to my boss. She tells me to call my friend. I tell her I tried, but she can't talk right now. She gets mad and starts swearing that she knew hiring me was a bad idea. I asked if there was anyone else I could call, and she said, just call IT. I reiterated to her I was told not to call Contour. She says call IT. So I did. The Contour technician was a sweetheart and walked me through how to fix the problem. To help in the future, the technician asked me to print a diagnostic page and fax it to him so he could see if there were any other problems, being as I was new to the system. So I did. He thanked me and told me he didn't see any other issues but to call him if I had any more problems. Cue the next day. My boss called me into her office and was livid. According to her, I just caused the company to have to pay $30,000 in licensing fees. It appeared the company had only bought 4 copies of the Contour program, but had installed it in way over 4 computers. My faxing the diagnostic page let the cat out of the bag. But since she told me to call IT, and the fact that firing me for exposing the company doing something illegal would also be illegal, all she could do was rage at me. She then called my friend and raged at her. From then on out, I refused to call my friend if I had any questions and just bugged my boss. She never did fire me, and towards the end, we became, if not friends, not enemies, until the company closed under mysterious circumstances a few years later. Edit. Some clarification. When I started, there was no IT division. They had one guy in corporate who either mailed you hardware or authorized you to buy it yourself. I had to install any new software from floppies. Any problems were figured out by trial and error or calling someone I developed. After that first disastrous week, lifelines with other processors in the other branch offices. They eventually set up an IT department. In the mortgage industry, processors are the ones who gather all the documents from borrowers and print needed loan documentation. This company took it a step further by having the processors also act as the receptionist and general office gopher. I did all the purchasing of office supplies, ran loan packages to attorney offices, processed loans for 8 loan officers, played administrative assistant to the manager, processed payments from customers, and on occasion, Marriage counselor to my boss and her husband. Our regional manager. It was a tough place to work, but the pay was really good. Closed under mysterious circumstances. You can't just leave that hanging without explaining. I've worked in IT for 30 years. As soon as you said they didn't want you to call the software company, I knew they were using unlicensed software. Years ago, I supported a DOS-based multi-user OS. I was talking to a tech for a national drugstore, and during the call, he mentioned problems he was having a different site. It turned out they had a 5-user license and installed the software throughout the chain. The tech admitted the extra installs and everyone got a nice bonus that year. Ferengi rule of acquisition number 8, small print leads to large risk. Not friends and not enemies is my favorite category for coworkers. Some peeps in Tales from Tech Support would get a chuckle out of this smiley face. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I screamed at your title. You don't call IT. Unless your PC is on fire or your server exploded. You make a damn ticket. But yes, the fact that they were abusing that is completely on them. They're lucky all they did was make them pay. You'd be surprised how easy it is to seize your property in those cases. Which for a program is every hard drive tower that has an illegal copy installed. Frenemies. She would be willing to train her after hours and on weekends. Plus, if possible, take calls during the week. Friends don't let friends work for free. So frenemies? Call IT does not equal call the software company, isn't? Where's the malicious compliance? You just did as you were told.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.